Right, we'll get started here. Good evening. Pause for a second there. Welcome. I am Mielke, and it is a pleasure to welcome you here this evening on behalf of the RUH Foundation. Thank you for joining us. I would like to acknowledge that we are gathering in Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Dakota, Lakota, and Métis. Recognizing this history is important to our future and our efforts to close the gap in health outcomes between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people by knowing what the land and the traditional people of the land offer us. It is so wonderful to be here amongst this inspiring group of women who are focused and energized to make a difference in our community. Whether you have been a member of the WLP community for a few years now, a recent member new to the WLP program, or joining as a guest of a WLP donor, we hope you enjoy yourself this evening as we hear an inspiring project update from Dr. Sarah Donners and her team on the project New Hope in MS, promoting functional neurorecovery through early intervention. Before we get to this portion of the evening, we'll have a chance to hear from committee member Chris Gordon about her involvement with WLP and why it is so meaningful to her, and from our valued sponsor, Tracy Staff from Skye and why they are supporting the program in such a meaningful way. I also want to acknowledge those guests who are virtually joining this evening. We are so pleased to have you here from where, regardless of where you are in the world. Before we jump into the formal part of the evening, I want to take a minute to say how fortunate I feel to be part of the WLP Volunteer Steering Committee, and wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of my fellow committee members who are behind the scenes to drive the success of this program. Tracy Brand, Lisa Collard, Chris Gordon, Rachel Kenny, Kayla Lindbach, Nicole Payne, Taya Pierce, and Michelle Freeman. And of course, our two inspiring leaders, who I will introduce as MCs later this evening, Program Chair, Dr. Mary Kinloch, Honorary Chair, Rachel Mielke. Thank you for all that you do to elevate WLP. And thank you to each of you. Yes. And thank you to each and every one of you here this evening. Together, through Women Leading Philanthropy, you're making a tremendous impact on the lives of women and their families who are cared for by our medical teams at RUH. As WLP donors, we have enormous power when we work together to empower other women. And this is exactly how we are making a difference through Women Leading Philanthropy. Since the inception of WLP, you have helped to care for women and their families in the community and beyond. You should all be extremely proud. I am pleased to introduce my fellow steering committee member, Chris Gordon, to share with me more about why she is so inspired by WLP and the work that has been done through the research of WLP donors have funded. Chris?
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. Actually, I didn't get invited. I can't hold on. And at that time, I thought it was a really great idea. Then I started thinking about it as like home. And so I'm really happy to be here. And I'm here to talk about my introduction to research and increased understanding that the value and love of research and why it's so important to me. I've always had a love for education, but didn't really understand the significance and value of it until 6 years ago, when my life changed significantly. my strong, fit, healthy husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He was 54, I was 53, and the next exciting chapters of our lives were just complicated. From law school, finished arguing, and landed his dream job. That week began with certain excitement. This is Bruce here. We are big into CrossFit. He had won his age category this week for a Western Canadian CrossFit championship, and he was pumped. We zipped to Regina. He signed the rules. Now the rules is where graduating law students sign. It's a historical document. We had no idea, so we went to Regina. He signed the rules, and this was official for him to become a lawyer. I had convocated from the Edwards School of Business. I figured, you know what? If he's going to school, I'm going to school. Like, what the hell? So I went to school at the same time. We met at university when we were in our teens, and we were in our last few years together in university together. And then we had a doctor's appointment, and we thought, okay, let's go see what's going on. We got diagnosed. Doctor had a hard time. We took a day, and then guess what I did? I did research. And we started doing a lot of research, and it was not good. There's no hope. There's no treatment. And even today, I'm still shocked. In 2017, what is going on? What do you mean there's no treatment? There's no hope. What is going on? The next 4 months were a blur. Bruce passed away in September 29 of 2017. Now, those who know me describe me as a doer. I see something that needs to get done or fixed, and I get it done. So again, guess what I did? I did some research. I discovered that we have a cancer research center right here at the College of Medicine. And I was able to take a tour of this world-class facility. This is Bruce at, and he was called to the bar. They did the ceremony early for him because he wasn't going to make it with his class. So we had an event at the courthouse where we had over 600 people show up. This is us at the courthouse. The police service named a physical fitness center after him. Lots of great things transpired. I met the two researchers. Here they are. This is Franco and Andrew. And they're extremely passionate. They're researchers up at the university, and they're passionate about it. Most of the time, I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. I would just nod and say, yeah, that's great. But they love their work. They showed me the equipment, the jigomajoozers, the lasers, the microscopes that do everything for them. I just smiled and looked amazed. I was. I then arranged for another tour with family and friends to go with me. And this is where I decided to put my efforts, and I created the Be Like Bruce. Each year, the CrossFit community and triathlon community have the Be Like Bruce Fitness Festival. And this year, it's a fundraising event for pancreatic cancer research. And it's on June 16, 17, and 18. To date, we've raised over $70,000, which I'm extremely proud of. I get emails from Franco on a regular basis. Okay, wait, Franco came to a CrossFit competition, like to accept the money. And the guys in CrossFit, I don't know if people know. It was so awesome. But he comes every year and to accept a donation from us. And he calls me on a regular basis to keep me up to date. And he asks for permission to use the funds that we've donated. We've helped buy new equipment, funding researchers who get grants. That grant money isn't to buy equipment. They can't use that money for that. So we bought new equipment for him. We've fixed old equipment. We've helped publish papers, new textbooks they've been able to publish. And it's information that hasn't been published in 30 years on pancreatic cancer. Again, it's books I don't understand. We have funded small research projects that have helped to get bigger research projects. And I've learned that this happens quite routinely through a lot of research grants. This one may not work for pancreatic cancer, but they may be able to help ovarian cancer or breast cancer or other types of cancer. So I joined Women Leading Philanthropy in September of 2018. My friend Sharon thought I would enjoy it, and she was right. I was hooked the first meeting. There were 3 research projects being pitched that night, and each one of them were amazing. First of all, women researchers, women's health, strong, passionate, smart women, all supporting each other. I'm in. Research is a must in order to make changes, to make life better for our future generations, for the future of my daughter, my daughter-in-law, and my 3 beautiful granddaughters. Research takes time. I've learned that over the past few years. You can't just fix things like tomorrow. Pancreatic cancer research is coming along. When Bruce was diagnosed, there was a 5% survival rate, and now there is, I think, a 7 to 9% survival rate. So it's getting better. There's a huge process that research projects go through, different committees just to get approval to make sure it's doable and ethical. The projects take hours of planning. They need staff, they need equipment, and they need funding. The best hope for finding therapies and effective cures lies in the interactions and collaborations between basic science, clinical science, and the clinicians. We owe it to ourselves to help facilitate research, because that is what will make the biggest difference in the end. Here at Women Leading Philanthropy, as donating members, we enhance, oh, I forgot to click. That's my granddaughter, the Be Like Bruce. There's that, this is all about the Be Like Bruce. Yes. Oh, there's Franco. That's part of my family. At Women Leading Philanthropy, as donating members, we enhance all of this to allow these strong, passionate, and very smart women to change the past health issues and then create better outcomes for the women's health, not only here right in Saskatoon or in Saskatchewan or in Canada, but women all over the world. We are making a difference. These women are strong, passionate, loving women, and they're making a difference for my family. One more thing. Exactly 6 years ago today, Bruce and I were given his diagnosis. Research matters. Let's make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that amazing story, for sharing with us this evening and being so vulnerable. We're so grateful to have you, a smart, passionate, and very special woman on our committee. Please join me in welcoming your host this evening, Dr. Mary Kinloch, Division Head, Anatomic Pathology for Saskatchewan Health Authority and WLP Honorary Chair, CEO, and founder of Hillberg and Burke, Rachel Mielke.
Thank you so much, Megan, and good evening, everyone. I'm Rachel Mielke, the CEO and founder of Hillberg and Burke, and wow, it couldn't have been more articulated beautifully of why this is so special. When you come and discover what's going on at WLP, it is infectious because it is so inspiring to be around so many capable, incredible, hardworking women who are doing so much for the province and healthcare in the province. And when you really come together, you can move mountains. So thank you so much for sharing your story. It was amazing. The June meeting is always so inspirational, and it's such a great time to reflect just how far we've come. We always get to have an amazing update as to how the project is going. And I am so happy that you've all decided to join us here this evening. WLP is something that I'm very honored to be a part of, because you can see the difference that this program is making in care in the province, in advancing research, in new ways of making healthcare better for people in our province. And I'm just so happy to be here and so excited to pass it over to Mary, who also is moving mountains.
Well, I can't believe it, like going through Chris's timeline of what we have done since we started this in 2017. It's been miraculous to watch this group grow. And what we were talking about at dinner is the importance of community. And I even think that this group is becoming a little bit of a community, because at the September meeting, that Persephone meeting, there was definitely a buzz in the room that we hadn't felt before. And I don't know if it was the grazing table or if it was everybody, the ferociousness of which people were excited to be back together. But I think that some of you are getting to know each other now, being in these meetings 3 times a year. And we do try and make them experiential for you, that we know the demands on your time. And we do want to center our message into what Chris is saying, and that how important that is. And so Franco Visakumar and Andrew Freywald are part of the department that I work in. And so we have collaborated with Laura Hopkins, who's a previous WLP donor and winner of the $100,000 prize. And so we are making a difference, and that is what it's about. It's about the community of the donors, and it's about the community of the researchers as well too. Just talking with Dr. Donkers at dinner time as well, that Saskatchewan is so inspirational in that way, because it's not the competitive environment that moves these mountains, it's the collaboration that we see within the community here. And that's being exhibited tonight, and we carry that on with us every day when we go back to the university. So thank you all for being here.
Another thing that makes this program special is 100% of the membership fee goes directly to fund the $100,000 grant. And to help make lovely evenings like this possible, we have to enlist the help from sponsors. So we are so fortunate to have tremendous support and financial investment from community-minded partners. And one such partner is with Skye Planning Group, WLP's program sponsor. So thank you so much for supporting WLP in such a meaningful way. And representing Skye Planning Group, please join me in welcoming our very good friend, Tracy Duff, who's going to come up and say a few words. Thank you so much, Tracy, and come on up.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Rachel, for the special acknowledgement. And I just really want to thank all of you for being here tonight. You folks have stepped forward, and we're advancing healthcare, and we're moving forward opportunities for our female healthcare practitioners. And I'm an inaugural donor and a sponsor of WLP, and I'm very proud to be part of this program and see firsthand how my support is advancing healthcare for women and their families. And I have some personal stories that I can say when we look at physicians, we look at donors, and we look at the families that we're supporting. And I actually got to see even support for spouses that are part of the people that have experienced what we are actually reaching out to do for supporting projects that can advance research. And I'm so honored to be part of this. I'm honored to be part of it because we're a strong group of women. We're a strong group of women that we even want to support each other in collaborative ways. And I even heard tonight how we can be like a stepping stone to someone getting their first grant through this, or a grant that gets them to this. And then the next thing is those people that have done that research, they're also noticed across the country, and they get an opportunity to actually show that on their future grants. And that is only going to advance healthcare for women in Saskatchewan by leaders that are women that are practicing. So this is such a blessing for our community, and my part here is nowhere near what everyone does here. And I just thank you ladies so much. I'm very passionate about the amazing work that's being done by this group of women, and that we're also providing the fundraising and the awareness that I would encourage any of you that are guests here today, that you start to feel this buzz in the room and you step forward and join this and start to get this community together. Because I can say, since 2017, I remember walking into the room first time and feeling like I was at home. And every time I come to an event, I feel like I got to meet a few more people and a few more people. And I would love for all of us to become a community of women where we can support each other. So I don't know if I followed my notes or not. I can't even. Anyway, I have said enough for this evening, and I just hope that if there's any way that I can inspire any of you to join Women Leading Philanthropy, and we bring more people to our group so that we can grow more, that would be great appreciation. And I just want everyone to have a very nice evening, and we'll look forward to June, and then we'll look forward to September. So thank you.
I don't know where I am. Great. So we're going to start off the evening. I've already ditched my sport coat. So we're going, instead of power suit, we're doing power t-shirt here. And we're going to get, and thank you so much, Tracy, for your inspiring words. You've always been a great friend and a great sponsor towards Women Leading Philanthropy. So to help support the program and make lovely evenings like this possible, we are fortunate to have a number of sponsors carry with us through for this evening. And they are MNP, SO Asher Consultants, Aspen Films, Encore Canada, DNM Images, Handy Special Events, Hilberg and Burke, and Vero Lingo, and as you just heard, our wonderful friend and program sponsors, Skye Planning Group. And I just want to say that is for all of the help with the food and with the photography and with the setup that you see and all of the wonderful places that we get to go and experience each other's company. So thank you so much to everybody.
In 2017, RUH Foundation believed in the vision of engaging women with a collective goal to inspire transformative advances in healthcare. Today, as WLP donors, we are celebrating the success of our Women Leading Philanthropy program, having awarded $600,000 to female-led projects over the last 4 years. We are collectively so proud of these achievements, and we hope that you will all share in the sense of pride, because it is because of all of you that this has happened. Women Leading Philanthropy exists thanks to all of you here, all of you joining us virtually. You've all committed your resources, your time, your experience, your philanthropic spirit, and your belief in the important work being conducted by brilliant female physicians and practitioners at Royal University Hospital. And that's why we're here tonight. WLP is designed to engage and empower women in determining how your donations will be invested. Having a say and a choice in how your donations are invested is one of the key elements that makes WLP so unique.
So one of the other things that make it so unique is the level of accountability that we build right into the program. So we don't cut the check and take the picture and say goodbye. We bring our winner back and we ask them to present back to all of you. So you'll remember last September that we had 3 amazing projects all vying for the $100,000. Well, tonight, we're very pleased to present that we have Dr. Donkers with us tonight, as selected by you, our WLP donors, to share an update with us. So there are new donors to our program here tonight and guests. So we're going to start with a video from Dr. Donkers, and then we're going to bring her up and do a little question and answer about what the project's been able to accomplish to date.
My name is Sarah Donkers. I am an assistant professor in the College of Medicine at the University of Saskatchewan, where I get to teach and research neurology content, specifically the neuro rehab content. I'm actually a physical therapist by clinical training and a neuroscientist by research training. And so I get to combine both of my passions and look at interventions, neuro rehab interventions that promote recovery of function, especially for people living with multiple sclerosis or MS. So MS is a complex disease. It affects predominantly women, but it also tends to onset when women are in the prime of their lives. It limits their ability to engage with their community and really participate in their meaningful life tasks. And we need to do better at addressing this. MS is progressive, it's degenerative, and currently there is no cure. A diagnosis of MS often comes with vision problems, neuropathic pain, overwhelming fatigue. And this fatigue sometimes means you have to choose just one thing you can physically do in a day. It can come with balance challenges, walking, coordination, muscle spasms, and muscle weakness. And this can affect anywhere in the body. That includes the muscles that control our bowel, our bladder, and our sexual function. Another challenge of MS is the symptoms fluctuate. So this can mean unpredictability and uncertainty, which is hard to deal with. There's currently no way to know when MS will worsen or progress. That represents a substantial gap in our understanding of MS, but also our ability to deliver preventative care. So our project is a 2-part research study. We'll look at access to evidence-based neurorehabilitation, and for the first time in Saskatchewan, we'll be able to use blood samples to look for new and unique blood biomarkers of MS disease progression. We will deliver and evaluate a neuro-recovery-based bout of rehabilitation. So this is designed to focus on improvements, focus on gains in function and symptom management. And that's not always the case in a degenerative disease. MS is a condition that can take so much. So we want to focus on supporting women with MS to develop the skill set that can help them live well despite their MS.
When I was first diagnosed with MS, besides the physical things that happened, so for example, when I fell at the Calgary airport, which was humiliating, that really wasn't the worst thing. The most difficult thing was not being able to talk to even the experts about what I was experiencing because my language was gone. The thing that I've always been good at is being articulate, and I lost that. And it was absolutely disorienting and terrifying. Because if you don't know how to describe what you're feeling, then how do you get help? And how do you let people know what is wrong? And that's the biggest piece for me with MS that's difficult. And one of the things I said to my spouse in the early part of 2016, when this was all going on, is that if and when my brain gets back to some kind of equilibrium, one of the things that I would do for the rest of my life is to be an advocate for people with MS, because so many of us, with the pain medications that we're on, with the fatigue, when it comes to advocating ourselves, it's very difficult. I hope that the research that we are embarking on here is going to help other people talk about their experience, be able to state what it is they need, and be able to find some form of equilibrium and health as we can understand it with those of us who have MS.
For dozens of years, my patients always ask me the same question. Even though I'm on an MS drug, why am I getting worse? And what can I do to stop it? That's why this study is so important. This team of brilliant women are going to actually crack the code and answer this question. First, they're going to do it clinically with a rehab intervention so people get treated right away. And second, they're going to do it scientifically by using cutting-edge molecular technology to find a biomarker that measures why people get worse.
For women in Saskatchewan. It is now my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Dr. Sarah Donkers and one of her many collaborators, Hannah Selpa. Welcome.
I'll let you guys set up, but congratulations once again. I know you have a great team of supporters here with you and cheering you on. So thanks for joining us, and we're really grateful for you to be here. But why don't you start by telling us where you are with the project now?
I'm going to start by saying a big thank you. Chris summed it up. Research matters, and we are very passionate people. And winning this award, being able to apply for this award, puts so many things into action, right? It makes us have conversations that, you know, are in the back of our minds, but maybe don't get to happen in a day-to-day basis. So right from that very first, put a research grant in, that happens in May for the RUH Foundation, all the way up to September where we pitched the project. Like, so much is happening at that time. And then the pitch meeting, right? The money is great, but the money is only one small part of what makes our project successful. And that was one of the most empowering nights I had. And since then, it's just, it fuels you, right? We're passionate people, and the way this money is delivered really makes a difference, not just to me and my passion and my research career, but to new collaborations, the patient partners we're working with on the project. But then, as Lois said in the video, empowering the women living with MS that have an opportunity to be part of our research study. So I don't know, like, we're not even done our research study and it's already been such a huge success. So your money is doing what it is intended to be doing. So thank you. And what was your question?
How's your project doing?
Okay, so our project is doing well. We had 3 objectives. We actually prepared a few slides in case you're visual learners. Chris also nailed this. It's a different language. And we live and we breathe it and we dream it. And sometimes we forget we are speaking a different language. And so if there's ever anything you don't understand, come flag us down during the social.
I think we will have some time to hand around the microphone as well too, for specific questions from the audience. So you guys can keep that brewing.
Awesome. So our project had 3 main aims, and one was to try and see if there's a blood marker of progression that exists. And that was really our first objective. And we've done that, and we've got a good update on that. The second one was to deliver a rehab intervention, so an intense neural recovery-based rehab intervention. And we have started that. And then our third one is to take blood samples throughout to see if there's any correlation to these changes in the blood marker to people who are maybe doing really well or maybe not so well with the intervention. So yeah, we check for the first one. We're starting, right? We're enrolling. If you know anyone living with MS, or if you're living with MS, you can call now We're ready for a flood of participants. And we will start blood draws immediately. So if someone is interested, we will ask them to come get their blood taken. And they might have to wait for the intervention because we're doing what's called a wait list control so that we can see in an individual what's happening when they do nothing versus what's happening when they get the intervention.
So I think what really spoke to me about your project is that there was a combination of the research aspect where you're looking at cutting edge biomarkers, things that would be helpful or possibly revolutionary in the future, but you're providing this neuro recovery approach to patients now. So if I was enrolled in this project, what would my treatment or what would my intervention look like and how would it be different?
Yeah, awesome. It would be awesome. That's my answer. No, thanks for that question. And we feel very passionate about doing research with people, not just on people. And so our study is designed so that while we're exploring, right, we get to look at your blood, we can also give something that is shown to be beneficial. And then we can refine that intervention to something that is most likely to be successful as part of routine care, right? So just by these women going through the intervention, they're getting something beneficial, but then they're making it more beneficial and more accessible to women after the research project is done. So it's kind of complicated because there's 3 components. A woman would be invited to have 8 weeks of what I call a boot camp. And the boot camp's really structured around what we say functional task training. So this is really gains oriented, learning a new skill. And often in a neuro condition or a neurodegenerative condition, a lot of the focus is on compensating or making the best with what you have. And we're saying, we know there's potential for the nervous system to recover. It just needs a safe, challenging environment at the right intensity to be able to do that. And so we are trying to create that environment. And then we're pairing it with symptom management. So like Lois said, people being able to advocate for themselves. So we want to create what's known as a self-management skill set. The symptoms can be quite diverse in MS. And so the intervention they'll get for symptom management is very individualized. And then pairing that with health advocacy. So after our 8 weeks in the intervention, they actually get a transition into, okay, you learned a new skill, we made some gains. Now, what do you need to focus on? What's the priority moving forward to maintain those gains or to continue to make improvement? So it'll be an individualized combination of these 3 things, and it's high intensity, right? We know how athletes have to train to get gains, and we know how children learn, right? It's mass practice, repeated exposure, new environments. And so we are giving people that opportunity to do that. So, and it's guided by principles of neuro recovery and motor learning. And these are just some of the tasks, because a lot of people think, well, I can't walk, right? And then so they don't want to be in this study. But MS has a spectrum, right? And some people might be in a wheelchair very young. Some people might not have to use a wheelchair until they're older. And we want to emphasize that gains can be made regardless of your current functional ability. And so people can enroll if they want to improve their sitting balance, if they want to learn how to practice getting up and off the floor, or maybe upper limb tasks. So there's a whole spectrum we're looking at.
Great. So we've heard that you have an exciting update to share with us from your findings from the first round of blood analysis and RNA sequencing.
Good words. We do actually. And that's why Hannah's here. So Hannah is also a neuroscientist, Dr. Salapa, and she's been doing all the blood work analysis. So over to her.
And maybe I'll also just add, can you clarify what RNA sequencing is and why it's integral to this project?
Yeah, so that's actually my first slide. So
Do you want to bring your mic
Oh,
just
sure.
a little bit
Oh,
further
sorry.
up? It's slipped.
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so RNA is this middleman essentially between your DNA or genes and functional proteins, which are what carry out all of the functions in your cells and keep you active and healthy. So RNA sequencing is basically looking at the amounts of these RNAs that are in your body. I think one of the best examples or easiest examples for people to understand is in terms of cancer. I think we're all just really familiar with it. So RNA sequencing will be done on like a normal set of cells and then a set of like cancerous cells. And then they'll look at the expression patterns in both the normal and the cancerous and say, okay, what's different? And so when they identify those differences, they can identify what's going wrong basically in the cancer cells, which can help with really tailored treatments and also helps kind of predict some of the time the progression of cancer. And so you can also look at the RNA levels and determine whether there are going to be deficiencies. And so those deficiencies in RNA can translate into issues like with your proteins. And so you don't have normal functioning proteins, which means your cells no longer function properly.
Yeah, so we look at the clinical level, but and MRI is another example of trying to look at the disease course, but it's not always correlated. And often disease processes are happening behind the scenes before you actually see the clinical changes. So looking for something like a blood-based biomarker is much more sensitive.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, like in terms of RNA sequencing, you'll see changes in some of those RNAs before you'll actually see it manifest itself like in a symptom or in a person. And so if we can identify some markers or some changes in RNAs, and then take blood samples from patients, we can hopefully predict when they might progress or when their disease might change, and then provide better care for patients. So I think another good question.
Well, I just wanted to, and sorry, Rachel, I'll step in because last time you said that there was a biomarker that you were looking at, but you weren't ready to say what it was yet.
So we're looking to see if there's a biomarker for progression. The sooner we can find sensitive biomarkers, the easier it is to roll out drug trials or pharmaceutical trials. Yeah, so we've got a little pressure to try and find a sensitive biomarker. But for this study to start, like our first round of blood analysis was to see, is there anything different across the disease course, which is what I think.
Did you guys find that?
Yeah. Maybe skip to the EDSS slide.
Yeah, everyone is just so excited. Okay. So the EDSS is the scale that we use to measure basically disability in MS patients. And so every time someone would go and see their clinician, they would basically like grade them on this scale, where 0 is you don't really have any impairments, and then 10 might be well, 10 is bad, but 8 or oh, sorry.
Yeah. So seeing the different groups here, this is how we split our blood samples to start. So we wanted people who were showing no signs, people who were showing some physical signs, people who were having walking impairments, and then people who were maybe wheelchair users.
Yeah, so we were identifying basically phenotypic groups where you could notice changes in a patient, right? Like it's very different when you have no impairments versus when you have to use a cane. And so we thought logically we might be able to see some sort of changes in the blood.
And what did we see?
Sorry, this is very sciencey. I didn't know how deep to go. So we did use all female samples from patients here in Saskatchewan. And so this is just showing the age, and it's approximately where you would expect for people living with MS, anywhere between 40 and 60. And so then we asked the question, are there differences between any of these groups? And then what changes do we see? And so we only saw changes when we compared the groups against group C, which is that group where you start to see like noticeable issues with mobility, and people might have to start using a cane and stuff like that. So when we compare these groups, yeah, we really only saw changes in RNAs when we were looking at comparisons to group C.
So this table on the left shows someone who's showing no physical signs yet. They very well probably have like cognitive or maybe symptom signs affecting them, something that hinted towards there's something wrong with my nervous system. So they have a diagnosis of MS, but from that A to B, no difference. A to C, something going on in the genes that are different. A to D, no difference. B to C, also something different. B to D, very little difference. C to D, huge difference. So across all groups, C kept popping up. So
What does
There,
that tell you?
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
now you're thinking that that's gonna be like a marker. where you
Yeah,
get
so,
right here.
yeah, so it's interesting to see is that phase where you're starting to see quite a bit of
Right.
progression and where
Rapid
it's very
progression.
obvious. And so we think what we found is that there's something going on around that portion where you're going to progress, where there's changes, detectable changes in certain genes that we might be able to assay by collecting blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you start this, you're like, we don't know what we're looking for, right? We don't know if a blood-based biomarker for progression exists. There's other blood-based biomarkers that do exist to show you have MS or not, or to show if your MS is active, maybe. But this is very exciting, right? And so your money allowed us to investigate it, but then also allowed us to be like, oh, wow, this was worth investigating.
Yeah.
So now we need more blood. So if you or anyone you know is living with MS, give them our number. Because
Yeah.
we just need more numbers, right? And we need more numbers.
Yeah, and then, so that's essentially what, this is summing up essentially what Sarah's saying, is that we think there might be these changes that precede any sort of observable change in a patient. And so if, it's really easy for patients to come in and get a blood draw, go to a lab, get a blood draw. And if we send it off and look for specific markers, we might be able to see, this is starting to be elevated. We should come in with some neuro rehab therapy. And so we might be able to prevent them from actually progressing and needing a wheelchair, etc.
What was your sample size so far and what is your
That was
hope?
15.
That was 20. I think it was 4 to 5 per group. Yeah. So we just we were just using samples that we had collected
Mhm.
previously from women living with MS. And so that was kind of our initial study to see like, what should we pursue? And so we've got a couple targets that we're going to try to expand on. But we just need to look like along that EDSS to see whether we can see if there are detectable changes. Yeah.
And 30 would be our ideal number. But we're just going to keep going till the money and resources run out, right? Yeah, the more, the better at this stage. When you're looking for something, you've got to start seeing, is it there all the time? Is there people that it's not there in? Why? What do we do next? But yeah, these findings alone are very exciting and are enough to get us next stage, right? This was mentioned earlier too, the seed money and the momentum.
So what are the next steps? If there's anything that we kind of haven't talked about yet in terms of next steps, and what are you hoping?
So in September, we'll have some clinical data to present to you as well, because women will be finishing their bout of boot camp. And we'll have more blood samples.
Yeah, so hopefully like while she's delivering the neuro rehab, we can monitor some of these markers to see whether they change, remain stable, and hopefully like the neuro rehab intervention will kind of stabilize people's disease and we'll be able to measure that.
Well, maybe we can put that slide back up about with the contact information and everyone can take a picture. and share it on
Put it at the end too? Yeah,
That's fine. Let's start going.
there we go.
Yeah.
So, and I did hear some chatter around the room as well too. So I think that there's a little bit of excitement that people might want to ask you a question or have
Please.
some inquisitiveness. So if anyone has something, the microphone is here for you and we already have a hand up here.
And we will take people across the province. We will need them in person at some points, but we're willing to be flexible to try and accommodate that travel.
Hi.
Hi, would you be able to do any retrospective studies? Like obviously looking back on other research or hospital situations where people have been women have been diagnosed with MS and have obviously had blood drawn, take those samples and use them because, 20 is awesome, but it'd be nice to have 200 or 300.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That is absolutely the plan, but it's a lot of money to run a single sample through RNA sequencing. So we are being very picky with what samples we choose for right now to make sure we can understand the picture. So that A, B, C, D was kind of broad chunking. And now that we know, whoa, something's happening at C, we're going around that to see, okay, is it happening when someone has an EDSS 4 or just when they have 5? So yes, it would be lovely. And we do actually have quite a big a blood bank, like through the MS clinic and Dr. Levins, who's our Saskatchewan MS clinical research chair. We do blood draws and then freeze those. But
Yeah, and ideally, like, we would like to identify like 5 to 10 markers where we could do like really high throughput screening and then like expand this from Saskatchewan to other collaborators, right? So we have a really good collaboration with Mayo Clinic, which has blood samples from the past 20 years from thousands of MS patients, right? So this would be the initial discovery here, and then validating it across other sites would make it, would really help.
And then in terms of your neuro rehab, you're using the patients as their controls, like you're not?
Yeah, we're doing a wait list control. There's quite a lot of evidence that rehab is effective in MS. Unfortunately, it's just not routine care, especially in the intensity that has been shown in research that's needed to make these meaningful changes or to take that neuro recovery approach. So that rehab component has the two is bridging the two objectives, right? It's allowing us to see how the blood-based biomarkers are changing based on a high intensity intervention, but it's also starting to bridge, hey, what do we know in research to be effective, and making it something more packageable to be delivered as part of routine care. So we're getting feedback. So any woman who goes through the intervention, we're getting feedback about, was it too short? Was it too long? What was sustainable? And we'll refine what we'll try to implement as part of routine care afterwards. Great questions. Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience that would like to ask Dr. Donkers a question before you get, I see somebody over
And
here.
just going back.
This is like an auction and you can't even nod your head. I'm like, the microphone is coming. Yeah.
You can't wave it.
Back to Rachel's question earlier about what's next. Well, so identifying the protein, like Hannah was saying, is the first step. And then once you've found a few very reliable ones that are showing up across several blood samples, then you can do a pathway analysis. So you're not just saying, okay, well, this is a marker. It's what role does this marker have in the nerve cells, or how is that affecting either the MS disease course or is a byproduct of what's happening with the MS disease course?
Yeah, because a lot of the time it's not one target or one RNA that's the issue. It's multiple across like a shared pathway. And so they all kind of start to malfunction. And so that's kind of what precipitates.
Oh, sure. Like the biomarkers aren't coming through the microscope and being like, I'm the one that.
Exactly.
Because
What did
they're
that
all going to
mean?
be interpreted in whatever else is going on. I don't know that you would know if it was the thing that's progressing, or maybe it is the effect of something else
Right.
that's causing it.
Yeah.
So you guys have, still have some investigating
A
to
little
do.
bit.
Yeah.
Lots of investigating to do, right?
Last chance, last call for questions.
And going back to research snowballs, the neuro rehab intervention that we're using as part of this study has already been asked to be used in other larger studies. So we just submitted a grant to the International Progressive MS Alliance, which is an international organization. So I'm one of 7 sites across Canada where we're taking this little intervention that your money allowed us to dedicate the time to refine and make all the training material. And, it's not just this is what we should be doing. It's like the idea can grow into something that's actually implementable, and you're pulling all the research together into something that's like feasible and reproduced at multiple sites. And so, yeah, seven different universities across the country.
Is there anything else that you want to share before we kind of wrap things up? It's like incredibly exciting to hear, and I bet there's lots of details behind it. And I can't wait for September to, see what transpires between now and then.
Yeah, thank you. And thank all of you guys for the money, but for believing in us. And I needed it. I needed that breath of fresh air. COVID was hard on everybody, but COVID was like really hard on healthcare and healthcare researchers. And I'm in my 5th year, so a newer stage when COVID hit. And, you submit grants, you get grants, but you don't get the support of 100 other women believing in your work and being excited for your work. And that was so reinvigorating.
I'm hoping that next year you'll be an associate professor then. This should really tip you over that balance for the college.
Yes, my application just went in.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, on behalf of everyone, huge round of applause. And We're so incredibly proud of the work that you've done so far. It is really exciting to see this tangibly up and the beginnings of findings. It's just really, from an outsider's perspective, this is incredible. And thank you so much for everyone for donating, for voting, for choosing this incredibly worthwhile project and to fund both of you to do this work, you and your teams. Yeah, thanks for being here tonight and for sharing an update as to where you're at. And we very much are behind you and cheering for you, even when, you know, you're having to put in long hours. It is cool to know that we're all behind you and supporting you. So keep going, and we'll be excited to hear from you in September again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Really do appreciate you guys being the physician or the allied healthcare female leaders that are showcasing our group here and being accountable for what we believe in and taking it through your passion and your work. That's really what WLP was created for, and I'm glad to see that it's existing through the last 5 years. So I am sure that all of you in attendance saw the beautiful door prizes that were at the Royal University. They were at the front, that were from the Royal University gift shop, and each WLP donor has been entered to win this beautiful package. And to draw the winner, I would like to invite the manager of the RUH Foundation gift shop, Lisa Gibson, up to the stage. Hello. To draw and announce the winner. Now, do you want me to hold it and then you can draw?
You do whatever you
Okay,
want.
let's do it.
I
Okay.
did hear that one time you have to do 3 seconds.
What do you mean? Like you?
3 seconds.
You,
You have to
oh,
mix it like
mix it. Oh,
chicken in a
okay.
bag. 3 seconds.
Okay.
That's what they said. Then you get the perfect pull. Serious.
Very
Okay,
good.
you got 3?
I did.
Okay. We got Vicky Martin.
Oh, Vicky.
Vicky.
No, you can't. No, Vicky has already won a door prize.
Oh.
You won a last time. And even Carla Holinati, who's the WLP supporter, she couldn't make it tonight because her husband is sick, but that was okay because she has already won a door prize.
So what you need to do, Vicky, is you need to come to the gift shop and just check out all the great stuff there one time, next time you're at the hospital.
Yeah, the caramel bar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All of them fun. Okay, here we
The
go.
onesies that they have.
What about Audrey Zucker?
Oh, yeah.
Levin?
Yeah, we haven't had Audrey up before.
Hey,
Audrey.
come on up. I can meet you halfway. Some lovely goodies. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Lisa.
Come check out the gift shop when next time you're at the hospital. Only be at the hospital if you have to be.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Lisa. So after a really favorable response to our call for WLP grant submissions this year, the grant review committee will be making final decisions on the 3 shortlisted candidates later this week. So be sure to watch your inboxes in the coming week, because we're going to share with you who the 3 shortlisted candidates are. And the September voting meeting will be held on September 25th. And we look so forward to awarding the 6th WLP grant in just a few short months.
Yeah. I wish I could tell you about where we're going in September, but it'll be announced shortly after this meeting, so you'll be excited. And I have got a chance to see the applicants come through, and I think September is going to be just as fantastic as last September was. They are stellar projects, so we're really looking forward to that September meeting. For any of you that are experiencing Women Leading Philanthropy for the first time in the room and you would like to become a member, you can join us again on September 25th. If you sign up to be one of our yearly donors, and you can pledge your commitment to the female practitioners that are changing healthcare for the patients and families at RUH. In that September voting meeting, we will vote for that $100,000 grant. You have to be a member to come to that. So no guests allowed to that one. You can do so at the registration table, and you can reaffirm your WLP commitment to demonstrate the transformable women-led healthcare at RUH and the initiatives that we're taking. So as we heard over and over again tonight, it really is this type of gathering and investment in research that is transforming that for women and their families.
And I'm going to assume that if you're a guest tonight, you're just going to sign up for a membership because it has been such a fabulous night and you can't help but not want to be a part of this incredible group. And what I would ask is, like, if you're already a member or if tonight you're signing up for a membership, tell another woman about this and bring another woman out. I do feel like this is a great kept secret in Saskatoon. We need to share the word. We need to get more women out, because the more women we have, the more money we're raising, the more that we can do and the faster we can do with the research.
I just like the meetings because you come back and then we get to see each other.
But I really think that we should, everyone bring a guest next time and bring a friend, not to the September, you have to be a member,
You have
but
to be a
get a friend to sign up. Yeah, and we are so excited as a committee and as a team in WLP to continue to build the impact of this group. And just want to again thank you all for being a part of this, being here tonight. Thank you so much for the work being done by the female physicians, and cannot wait to welcome you all back on September 25th for our voting meeting, which is so much fun. If you've been to one before, you know how much fun it is. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And now that kind of concludes the formal part of the evening. So we're going to turn it back over to the fabulous people at the Besborough and ask you to join us on the terrace for some desserts and conversation. So yeah, thanks so
Hey,
much
thanks
for
so much,
joining us,
everybody.
and have a great night.
Okay.
You guys can sit down.
Okay.